But simultaneously, there was the assumption and transfer of assets and liabilities to DFT. So DFT was also on board because it has to be a seamless process so that by Monday, people could accept, the depositors could accept their balances from DFT Bank.
Now, Mr. Omo, what we needed from you, while you've given us the source documents, what we also need is a summary of the report when you handed over the branch, a handover report to the branch on the status of how you left the branch. First, how you got the branch and how you left the branch.
Here, to our head office is basically the heart of the institution, and basically we're looking at numbers and reconciling balances, making sure that the cash is okay, the deposits are okay, tallying all those balances, and each of those processes results in generating what I've just been trying to do to the committee. And then the report, the final report, even if I'm drafting it, usually I draft it for the next office. At that time, I'm the deputy director, so I'm the one doing it. I'm quite sure that all the words in the document are mine, but it's signed by the director of commercial banking or the executive directors for the governor's office.
Well, I don't know. You probably, those documents, are they confidential, sir?
Yeah, like I said, this information is live because these customers are there, they're in DFC Bank, and they need your guidance because, but the information is there. I also yesterday informed you that I changed the two departments at the bank, but instead I had to go back to my previous office.
At the beginning of this process, you weren't there, but you had agreed on how to handle confidential information because it should be forwarded formally. We undercover letter so that we know how to treat it. Because it's also not correct for you just to come with confidential information and you just say, there is here. It doesn't make sense.
No, I'm sorry, Chair, but that's why I've kept it with me. I have not given anyone at this point.
Once you keep it with you, then it's no use for you to have come and talked about it. Because it's not supposed to be for your keeping, it's supposed to be for consumption this side. Then we treat it with confidentiality if it is so confidential.
So, Governor, I will submit then this undercover. I missed that's what was part of the
Governor, can you have your documents? Get them together. When you are submitting, we know which you would like us to treat as confidential. We know which information we can discuss publicly. And all your officers should know this. As of now, that information, we are not going to accept it until we know its status and should be forwarded. Once it is forwarded, please, Auditor General, look at it and see whether it answers what we are requesting. Because it's no use giving us that question. We shall treat it as stationary. You only give us information which you think will answer the query and the question. So if you give us information which does not answer, it will be treated with that sort of weight. Mrs. Rajendra?
Thank you, Chair, through the Governor. I looked at the loan listings and I looked at the report of NBC from the advisor whom we had appointed to give us weekly monitoring reports, and these are my findings, and these are our findings, which helped us, which assisted us to arrive at a discount of 30% on the sale of secured performing loans. Mr. Chairman, through the Governor, as at 8 September 24, the non-performing loan portfolio of the National Bank of Commerce stood at 35.98%. We closed National Bank of Commerce on 27 September. 2012. So when we were looking at the loan values, we determined that given the fact that non-performing loans stood at 35%, the performing loans going forward will have a likelihood of going into a watch or non-performing status. That determination formed our view to sell the performing loans at 30%.
At
30%. In our view, discount, yes. In our view, comparing non-performing asset ratio 35, that was a determination which was in good faith. Thank you, Chair.
Did you sell a non-performing asset?
Non-performing loans.
Did you sell any non-performing loans of NBC?
The non-performing loans of NBC were transferred to DFCU on a correction
We
basis.
are talking about NBC, and the point was you saw the performing loans at a discount of 30%. Yet in your explanation, you are talking about the non-performing loans.
Sorry, Chair, let me correct you. We sold the secured performing loans, I'm sorry, at 30%. A slip of the tongue, Chair.
We sort of take off time to read these forest of documents you send. We just don't keep them. We read them and understand them.
I'm sorry. The sale of secure, it was a slip of the tongue, Mr. Chairman. We sold secured performing loans at a discount of 30%.
Colleagues, you've heard the reason. We shall analyze the reason Mrs. Bagenda has given and come to one conclusion. Unless you have any clarification you would like to seek from her, then please do it now. We have to go to the next bank.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get clarification from Mrs. Bagenda of what constitutes a non-performing loan. As far as I'm concerned, we are talking of secured performing loans. Now, in our explanation, the discount was reached after considering the percentage of the non-performing loans, which were never put together with the secured performing loans. Earlier, when she was explaining some other discounts, the justification was the effect that they had been lumped together. So the percentage of the non-performing loans and the secured performing loans was considered together because they were sold together. In this instant case, you sold the secured performing loans alone. Why did you have again to consider the non-performing loans?
Thank you, Chair, through the Governor. Each bank resolution has different methodology depending on the balance sheet. We have different resolution mechanisms for different institutions depending on their balance sheet. For NBC it was different, and for Greenland it was different. Thank you, Chair.
Mrs. Bagenda, is that according to the law or is according to your own assumption? Because when you look at section 95.3, it describes clearly how you should dispose of the assets of a financial institution.
Chair, may I look at the law, please? Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Chair, through the Governor. This law is talking about financial institutions' assets. Loans are just a part of the...
A part, is it an asset or not?
It's an asset.
So maybe next time you consult your lawyer before you venture into that.
Thank you, Chair. Legal counsel, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through the Governor, I request for
I was advising Mrs. Rajendra, after hearing her answer, that sometimes if there are issues of the law, before you venture into an answer which may not, I don't want to be rude, consult your lawyer. The lawyer is there and it's her duty to advise. Say, well, the question is this, they have cited the law. What is it? Then it helps. Because the answer she has given, I don't think it answers the question anyway.
Especially, Chair, when you're dealing with so many institutions, because tomorrow you're going to sell another bank and you sell it at a discount of maybe 50%. And yet the law is very clear. It says, in determining the amount of assets that is likely to be realized from a financial institution's asset, the receiver shall evaluate the alternatives on a present value basis using the realistic discount rate. So if you had looked at the law, you would be able to understand what you'd be doing, not just making assumptions. And when you look at Part B, document the valuation and assumption on which the valuation is based, including the assumptions with regard to interest rates, asset recovery rates, inflation, asset holding, and other costs. But if you sit in your boardroom and just decide and say, let me discount this at 93%, you will be acting against the law. And remember, this is not your assets. It's for other financial institutions. And the money you're injecting in this institution is taxpayers' money.
Anyway, I think the bigger point, colleagues, and I think we now have a little bit of consensus between this side and our side, that in the future we will not have something like that.
We have watched this show begin. We have traveled the entire country in search for commercial farmers.
Cassava is now a cash crop in Teso.
Farmers from across Uganda have benefited from agriculture.
Somebody who is doing fish farming this is an opportunity, a huge opportunity, in that the market and the demand is already available.
I realized there was potential in goat farming. I started with around 30 goats.
You don't need a lot of money to start, but rather
are not schooled in accounting issues. That is what I said. But with regard to the negotiation of the NBC, we were part of the team. I did not say that we were not there. We actually accepted that we were there. Yes, but we did not, we are not, I think I have clarified.
Chair, can I
Even if somebody walked in and served tea, yes, he was there serving tea, but his role was serve tea.
Chair, can I get a clarification also, just for record purpose? Did Mrs. Bagend also say that the external lawyers were also there, the marks?
Yes, she did.
Madam?
She said they were the transaction advisor.
So, Mr. Chairman, the team, if we can repeat, was EBS, was me.
You know, you have to be on record, Mrs. Rajend.
Thank you, Chair, through the Governor. Let me repeat the team. It was me, EBS, Mrs. Justin Bachenda. It was Director Commercial Banking, Mr. Ben Sekazira. It was the two councils, Mrs. Margaret Kasure and Titus Melindra in her absence. Sometimes they would come, two of them. And then Max Advocates. I stated that Mr. Masende, and I was to confirm about Karugawa, and we confirmed that it was Mr. Masende.
Okay. Let me hear from, still on the discount. Yeah. Can we just limit ourselves? There was a discount, it is not in dispute. The team that went into that meeting, you had. However, a member of the team said, yes, we are party to it, but on that we are not schooled. That's what the record is.
Yeah.
No, don't allay anybody's fears.
Yes, only.
We are not here to allay anybody's fears. Let's just put the facts bluntly as they are.
Yes, this is
without
what
judgment.
That's true, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the guidance. I wanted to put across this. Negotiations are not about aggregation of figures. When you go into negotiations for sale, no one should fear. If you are not good at counting the figures, that doesn't mean that you don't participate. So we are not talking about how much this was counted, what was counted. We are talking about terms of the agreement, where one must be there as a lawyer, as an accountant, as an expert in finance, to actually help in negotiations. What council is fearing, every time she comes to some, it says, but for us, we are not experts in counting figures. That's not what me. Negotiations are not only about counting figures, really. Me, I'm a teacher, but I would participate if I was having a chance to be Bank of Uganda. Really. Negotiation
I don't want you to be party to that.
Anyway, I mean if I had worked with Bank of Uganda then. So what the council feared is about figures, and that is being unfair to this committee. Terms of agreement are issues of law. There is no way people can begin to talk about how, what if this one does this, and the lawyer says, but this is not about figures. Me, I cannot come in to say what. Me, what I see, Mr. Chairman, in conclusion.
Can I give some information?
The upper hand of this was actually given by the council. Figures are figures. That was a very small component. Terms of the agreement, 90% of them are about law.
So there is nobody else you can distance yourself from negotiations that were very serious according to some of us.
Chair, just to help Honorable Kasibanta and bring, Honorable Vice Chair has quoted a law on how you determine the discount. That's where you come in. Was that followed? Because you are the legal advisor in that meeting. Was that followed in arriving at a discount? Did you bring to the attention of your members that we must do this in according to this? You do the calculation, but it must be within the law.
Chair, in the presence of the internal lawyers, what was the use of external lawyers in that negotiation?
Let her respond to those first, Chair.
Let's do this, because I would like to move on. Can we have this explored and conclude it, and we'll move to the next issue? As I say, all the facts are now with us. Let's have the clarification members have just given. Honorable Miduche, 1 minute. Honorable Tusime, 1 minute. Is there any other person? Honorable Yandala, 1 minute. So 1 minute each. Yes, Honorable Namayanya. 1 minute each.
Thank you so much, Chair. Of course, things continue taking different dimensions, but like my colleague said, if at the end of the day we come up with a report as a committee on COSASE, nobody will say, you see, for me, I was not legally schooled. For me, I was an accountant. It will be a report of COSASE. So, if there was a team of Bank of Uganda negotiating, whether anybody was an accountant, or you were a lawyer, or you went as a tigger or a sweeper, you were a part of the team and you took a decision as a team. So, I wouldn't want to see people trying to run off from responsibility and hiding in their professions, yet they were members of the team. They must take responsibility as people who were on the team, negotiated, and took a decision.
No conclusion, I said. If we did clarification, ask questions. No conclusion. Yes?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the legal counsel, together with Mrs. Vagenda, have just confirmed the participation of Max Advocates as transactional advisors to Bank of Uganda on that team.
Sorry?
The legal counsel and Mrs. Vagenda have just confirmed the participation of Max Advocates as transactional advisors to BOU on that particular transaction. Chair, I've just perused the list of directors of different commercial banks submitted by Bank of Uganda, and I want to draw the attention of the legal counsel and the Bank of Uganda team. Section 54 of the Financial Institutions Act of 2000. Section 54, both subsection 1 and subsection 2. Chair, from the list that we have just received, I do confirm that Mr. Timothy Masembe Kanyere is the chairman of the NC Bank. Mr. Apollo Nelson Makubuya is the chairman of Equity Bank. Mr. Moses Jirua Adriko is on the board of Standard Chartered Bank. These are the principal lawyers pre-qualified by Bank of Uganda in conformity of the third schedule of the FIA Act, have passed the fit and proper test, and the particular section I've referred to is in line with conflict of interest. I would therefore wish to ask the legal counsel what you would expect from your transaction advisors. Negotiating for a sale of a financial institution that is in a competition of other institutions on whose boards they serve. Mr. Chairman, that particular section of 54 is in relation to conflict of interest. And one says, no director or officer of a financial institution shall take part in the discussion of or taking a decision on any matter in which that person or any of his or her related interests has interest. Subsection 2 of the same says, in any meeting where subsection 1 of this section applies, every officer or director referred to in subsection 1 shall inform the meeting of his or her interest or that of any of the parties mentioned in subsection 1, and to the extent that the discussion or decisions concern any matter in which he or she has interest shall exclude himself or herself from further attendance of that meeting. I am certain this is what informed the decision of the governor not to take part in the transactions of National Bank of Commerce. Mr. Chairman, I don't want to conclude, but I think Bank of Uganda abdicated its mandate and handed over responsibility to directors of other commercial banks to determine the fate of other financial institutions that were in a competition, in a business competition, of the ones they represented on the board. I thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I can speak?
No, it's something we'll have to understand first. It's a little bit... First of all, let's put it different. Let's get the facts. Is it true Governor, that you have directors of commercial banks as your legal advisors? Is it true that you have directors of commercial banks as your legal advisor? Because let us look at the principle before we go into who.
Yes, can you tell us?
Thank you, Chair, through the Governor. Unfortunately, yes.
No,
Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Let's just your one here. Yes. Is it true?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just
3 questions.
Don't volunteer. Let me ask. Is it true that you've got directors of commercial banks as your legal advisors?
Mr. Chairman, that's true.
Okay. Now let us look at it in principle. Before you, is it correct to have directors of commercial banks to be the advisors of the central bank?
Mr. Chairman, the reason that...
Ask the question, is it correct, Madam Kasule, that you have directors of the commercial banks to be the principal advisors of you, the regulator?
Mr. Chairman, we always ask them to declare their conflict of interest.
Is it correct as a principle to have director, you know who a director of a commercial bank is? And you are the regulator. And now they come and become your principal advisor. Before we even go to the specific of this particular case, is it correct in principle for a bank, a regulator, to have not only maybe lawyers, but even accountants in colleagues in business management? I'm a self-educated one. We call it regulator capture.
Regulatory
capture. Because the people you are supposed to be regulating are now your advisors. And does this need sophisticated science to see that it is not correct?
Chair, and even in the absence of minutes, what the legal director is saying, that we always ask them to declare their interest. How do we know that you ask in the absence of the minutes of the meetings?
Let's finish the principle first. Let's finish the principle. Because we want to see whether we are speaking from the same page. Then we can now go into the details. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, what I want to ask, I want to be clarified on how these advisors are procured, because if we get to know how they are procured, maybe we shall now know the question you asked. Secondly, on the transaction itself.
We are going to come to the transaction. I just want to clear out the point, the principle, to see how it is justified under any circumstances that you have the people you are supposed to be regulating and they become your advisor. Meaning, actually, if you are, for example, a legal advisor, a FIDI, I know most. Clients disclose to us their workings, their secrets, their confidential information, but you are now disclosing those of the central bank to a director of a commercial bank. It becomes worse if that information is for a rival bank. No. The lawyer wants something. Say something.
Thank you, Chair. A number of questions, and through the Governor, a number of questions have been answered. Asked. The first question was, I'm just not going to answer them in order. How were they procured?
No.
They were...
Mr. Kasule, I asked that point, and I said let it lie for the time being. We want to clear the principle first. And don't rush to any other question until we clear the principle, whether it is correct or not correct. After we have cleared the principle, then we shall go into the question of Honorable Namayanja.
External lawyers of the Bank of Uganda who are not conflicted can provide legal services to the Bank of Uganda.
We are not talking about external lawyers. We are talking about external lawyers who are directors of commercial banks. Because the question you are setting yourself and answering is about engagement of external lawyers. Of course, Bank of Uganda can engage external lawyers. But if you are engaging an external lawyer, you make sure that he's not what? Conflicted. As soon as you are a director of a commercial bank, in your view, Is it correct for you? Can you recommend that these are directors of commercial banks, but we are now engaging them as our legal advisors?
There would be a conflict if during the life of the institution you start discussing with them matters regarding
have you thought about that question correctly, Madam Kasui? If you have not, please do think about it.
Okay, sir.
That's my view. Because on the face of it, it is something which I'm sure you are now also having uneasiness about it. Honorable Kasivan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to find out, I am imagining that these external lawyers were procured as law firms, and the directors are directors in their personal capacities. But I wanted some clarification from the director, Igor, whether Bank of Uganda engaged them in personal capacities or it engaged their law firms.
Man, I have an answer, but let the legal counsel answer it. What's the difference? Do you have a difference between the firm and the professionals or the partners? Is there any difference? I think that's the question he's asking.
Mr. Chairman, through the governor, a law firm is a partnership.
Is what? A law firm is a partnership, and don't be shy about it. What it means is that it's different from what you would call a company, because a company is distinct from the shareholders. Professional firms or partnership, there is no difference. If it's Kasivant and Company Advocates, it's not different from Mr. Moses Kasivante, who is a partner. You are one and the same. Though if it's Kasivant and Company Limited, Mr. Kasivante is a shareholder, then he's different from the company. That's what she's trying to say about partnership. But colleagues, other than the lawyers on this list, just 1 second. Then you come in, Honorable. Other than the lawyers on this list, do we have any other director offering professional service to Bank of Uganda? Other than the lawyers, do you have on this list of directors professionals who are offering, who are your consultants, or offering professional services to you?
Mr. Chairman, and through the governor, I do not have that list with me. So
the list came from Bank of Uganda.
But
the list is not from
but
here.
But with regard to NBC, where I suppose we still are, those people were not yet directors of those institutions.
Chair, that's not the question from the chair. The chair has asked you, do you have in this list of the directors any member offering services to Bank of Uganda? That's the question.
Maybe we need this question to go to the governor himself. Yes, because it's a very, very important question. I don't want to leave it to junior officers. Governor, you've now heard from us. We have a situation where directors of commercial banks, I think both governor and deputy governor should be able now to clarify on this point.
sorry, I do not know. First of all, I haven't seen the list. And secondly, I don't really remember who is the consultant for Bank of Uganda? Who is the project consultant? I think that we could get some help from the procurement department. The people directors.
Yes, you will, but now that we have brought it to our attention, tomorrow we need an exhaustive explanation on the issue of the one we've been discussing. And colleagues, those are the facts. You can change them. And I would like, do you have any other than the lawyers on this list?
Thank you, Chair. I wouldn't know. I just also wanted to seek clarification with regard to what we are supposed to produce tomorrow. Is it an explanation with regard to conflict of interest? Because our interpretation of Section 54 that has been cited by Honorable Tusime is different.
Council, can you read 54 together with 55? In relation to those officers being the board members of other financial institutions. The board of directors of financial institutions shall be responsible for good governance, good corporate governance and business performance of a financial institution. B, ensuring that the board is in full control of the affairs and the business operations of financial institutions. The fact that these board members are supposed to work for the other financial institutions, and now they are the same people who are working for the regulators, what do you expect? Isn't that a conflict of interest?
Chair, just additional to what the Vice Chair said.
I think, colleagues, this point is very, very important, and we are going to make a decision on it. I just want you see, without being defensive, whether it is a good principle of corporate governance for which Bank of Uganda holds the institutions to have this sort of situation. I think that's the point. Because now...
Can we come back to this point tomorrow?
Okay, that's fine.
Chair, as they come tomorrow, Chair, maybe they should help the Director Legal. Mrs. Bajenda just told us Mr. Masembe of Max Advocates was part of the team in the negotiation for the sale of NBC. And now we have been told he's a director of Max. So you were sitting in a meeting with the directors of another commercial bank to debate, to negotiate how to sell another commercial bank? Is that what we are getting?
Sorry, I was consulting. What are you saying?
Chair, I was just saying, Mrs. Bajenda, again today repeated, the members who were in the negotiating team, and he said Mr. Masembe was part of the team, but now we have been told he is also a director of Max Advocates. So here, am I getting it right that the directors of another commercial bank were sitting with Mrs. Bajenda and team to negotiate how to sell NBC, another commercial bank.
I think let's have that explanation tomorrow in detail. Okay? Let's have that explanation tomorrow in detail, and we shall, the facts we now have, they seem to be a little bit not straight facts. So let's get everything tomorrow, then we come to that point. Yes, the Honorable
Chair, as they come tomorrow, let them also consider, you could refer to page 59 of the Auditor General's report. Page 59. Page 59 shows the intervention costs incurred by Bank of Uganda, and you can clearly see Max Advocates was a transactional advisor, and he was paid a tune of about 4 billion shillings. Now, this is in the case of Grena Bank, which we are going to start. So, your responses should be directed to all issues and not necessarily National Bank of Commerce, because we are going to meet it under Grena Bank as well.
Yes, Honorable Namayanja, do you think they should come with, just, they should come with the Honorable Namayanja's response to her question
Mr. Chairman.
about procurement, and when you are procuring, do you take that into consideration?
Mr. Chairman, apart from that, I would also like to find out, as the negotiating team has been mentioned here, and the roles of each individual on that team should be known to us, to avoid asking many questions. Because if they tell us they were team, yes, but having external lawyers, we want to know what the internal lawyers were doing and the external lawyers were doing, and each individual's role in the negotiation.
Chair, supplement.
Maybe to put it differently, or this, what were the terms of reference for the external lawyers? So do you have it? Do you have it? Did you have it in writing? Let's see if we get this. Do you have it in writing? For this particular transaction? And who gave it? Who sought the advice or the transaction advisor? Because I imagine there are many lawyers to the bank. When you are zeroing on this one, who took that decision? And what were the terms of reference? That's Honorable Namayanja, I'm sure.
Chair.
Is it that so?
Chair.
Okay, let's get this first. The EDS or legal counsel? Legal counsel, tell us terms of reference and who appointed this particular transaction advisor.
Mr. Chairman, and through the governor, Max Advocates were part of the panel of Bank of Uganda, and they are retained. With regard to the terms of reference, I request that.
No, who, because you have a list of pre-qualified lawyers. We want of the list you picked one. Who of these picked that one? Who, did you take that decision?
Mr. Chairman, I request that that question be answered by the former EDS.
Former EDS.
Thank you, Chair. Through the Governor, I was perusing through this file and I see a correspondence from Legal Counsel's office through the Bank Secretary to the Deputy Governor stating in short that Bank of Uganda instructed Max Advocates to provide legal and advisory services during the bank's takeover of National Bank of Commerce and the subsequent closure. The instructions involved review and preparation of the purchase and assumption in liaison with bank's legal department.
What document are you reading?
I got it from the file of NBC.
What document?
The heading, Chair.
It's not about the heading. We want to know that I'm reading a document X signed by so and so. And the point is one, Mrs. Vajenda, if you may listen to the question. Max Advocates is on the list of pre-qualified advocates. That's correct. Who took the decision that on this transaction, other than Advocate X, we pick Advocate Y to be the transaction advisor?
Mr. Chairman, through the Governor has already guided that we're going to look at this issue.
Please, people, we don't have time. I think you should be worried that the Bank of Uganda is in Parliament every day for 4 weeks. We cannot afford the Bank of Uganda to be here for an extra day. We can't.
Chair.
That's why the President was even raising concern about this process should come to an end. You seem to be enjoying you coming here every day. No, we are not allowing you to do that.
Chair, through the Governor, may I make one clarification? You asked me about this file. This is one of the files which came over for National Bank of Commerce. This is the copy I was given. Remember when I asked to be given time to go to the bank, I was given this file. So I presume, in my view, that the file is for the committee. Secondly, the Governor has already guided that we're going to look at the issue and come back.
The Governor doesn't guide this meeting. I guide it.
As requested.
Chairman, I found something a bit strange here which I would like to find out.
Because you see, Vincent, as you're coming, this issue is again going to come up with the next bank. So we need clarification on this.
If you permit,
yes?
Mr. Chairman, I think she was leading us to some document, which I suggest we do not gloss over, where she was answering the question. I would have answered the question a different way, but I'm not her. My thinking, however, is that she was actually answering that question, and we needed that document.
I wouldn't know what document she's looking for.
Yes, that's
what the question was, Honorable Segona, who took the decision, what were the terms of reference. It is as simple as that. Who took this decision? Legal counsel has said that she prefers the former EDS answers the question.
And I think, Mr. Chairman, she was answering it her own way. Some people answer scientifically, others arithmetically. If we listen to her, if you guide, as you were guiding her on which document, which I suggest we would receive, it would take us to the next step.
Chairman.
I think, have you noted down the question? Can we have all those come with responses tomorrow?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, let me ask mine now.
Yeah, but also the response will allow them to come in tomorrow.
Yes. But Mr. Chairman, for me, I'm interested in knowing which particular role was given to Max Advocates. Was it for advisory alone or including collecting of loans?
Because same question, Honorable Wayo, same question, terms of reference. Because the terms of reference give you the assignment, the extent to which. And as we are guiding, let them come with it tomorrow.
Chair, there are questions which I will put to the Director Legal. I wish you could listen.
Director Legal.
We put some questions to you. But as they respond, maybe Chair, tomorrow also, on the point 2.8.2, they request that tomorrow they come with the title of that land, because related to the issue that we raised, the title of the land, for us to confirm who bought that land.
Moses.
Chair, thank you. Yeah, for previously a few minutes, you've just asked a question. That question was directed to the Legal Counsel of Bank of Uganda. And in response, she said, let the former EDS respond. That question has been left hanging. I request that the former EDS goes ahead to submit that document which was reading, so that we get to know the gist of the matter. We are leaving some of these things hanging. Let us get to know the contents of that document so that you can guide wisely.
I think I've been guiding wisely.
Chair.
You missed out one word. You would continue guiding.
Chair, additional information, Chair.
Yeah, let's have that, but then I'll go back to Moses' question.
Chair, I've seen a tendency where we say this question will be answered the next day, and the Legal Counsel comes here with exceptions and quoting the acts. So, Chair, to avoid the quotation of acts and looking at the exceptions, I would suggest that you give a chance, Mrs. Bagenda, to read that document, because your concern was the terms of reference and who gave the instructions. So let's give her a chance and read the document, then maybe you can move forward, Chair.
Honorable colleagues, don't mind about exceptions. The exceptions don't change the law. The law is there as it is. So even if the exceptions come, they will not change the status quo of the law. So Honorable Engineer Vyandala, then...
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As we started this meeting, you said you listened to His Excellency, and I also did actually. But even this morning on NBS, one of those televisions, NBS, there was a certain gentleman, I think from one who was saying, this committee is sitting, we have no objective. We are here for just naming names and embarrassing people. And he said, this committee would have been of use if we are here to add value. But we have been saying these things that we are here to add value to our institutions, because the officials of the Bank of Uganda and ourselves love this country. So I've really enjoyed the interest, Mr. Chairman, you have shown, and my colleagues, in seeing that what we are saying is directing to adding value to what the Bank of Uganda does. And I would request that the bank also responds in that way, that when unnecessary putting arguments, defense doesn't help us. Let us move together for improvement of service delivery. This is what our people want.
That is the executive meeting.
Okay, the point has been taken, colleagues. I made the communication in regard to the president because he's the president. About what people think of us, we will define ourselves and we let them judge. We would not allow people to define us. We don't do things because we are responding to what people are saying. We do things because we think they are right, and we let them judge. Definition of ourselves should be ourselves. So we will not act under any pressure, we will not act under any negative propaganda, because there are many people who may not wish this process well, and the only thing they can do is to discredit it. That we have no power over. Let them do it. However, we will define ourselves and we will do what we think is correct. On that note, the issue about Honorable Moses' question. Okay, but I'm going to close this now. Mrs. Vajenda, what document is that you are reading?
Thank you, Chair. Through the Governor, there is a file here of NBC. I'm trying to explain, sir. Thank you. The document,
Which document are you reading?
Mr. Chairman, the file was passed over to the committee. Are you...
Mrs. Vajenda, the document is titled. It has
Just tell us which document is this you are reading.
Mr. Chairman, the document is, as I said, from legal counsel through the bank secretary to the deputy governor, dated 7th November 2012. Legal and advisory services to Bank of Uganda in respect of National Bank of Commerce. Reference is made to attached letter. The attached letter is from Max to legal counsel, Bank of Uganda. The attached letter is requesting for payment of a fee note. And so an internal memo is generated by legal counsel to the deputy governor. Bank of Uganda instructed Max advocates to provide legal and advisory services during the bank's takeover of NBC and its subsequent closure. The instructions involved review preparation of P&A in liaison with Bank of Uganda Legal Department, correspondences, adverts, and attendance of various meetings. Max advocates had initially presented a bill of US $55,106, but following discussions, they agreed to give Bank of Uganda a discount of 21% and have now resubmitted a fee note for USD 43,660 inclusive of VAT. This is to request for your approval for the payment of USD 43,660 to Max advocates in full and final settlement of the above fee note. The said expense will be funded from NBC Loan Recovery and Collection account. And this was approved by the bank.
No, but
signed by Margaret Kasudo.
You are talking about the tail end of the process. We are saying who amongst your pre-qualified advocates took a decision to appoint this bachelor advocate. Number two, what were the terms of reference? And those, I'm sure, should have been done by documents.
Mr. Chairman, through the Governor, supervision is a service department. We do not appoint legal advisors. We get information from legal department.
But legal counsel has said that on that particular point we should ask you.
Procedure, Mr. Chairman. I think, Mr. Chairman, procedure. Sorry.
And Mr. Twinemans, have you submitted the documents Madam Vajenda is referring to?
Battle for cash.
My name is Sekito Remy. Our investment club is called Agro Investment Kibuz. We are focusing on the coffee value chain, whereby we produce seedlings, good quality seedlings that are sold to farmers. Produce two types of seedlings, elite coffee seedlings and the chrono coffee seedlings. The reason why we chose coffee, when you look at the potential that coffee has, it's really huge. So it is upon us, we as members of the kibbutz and the people we work with, to exploit this potential. We joined the battle for cash we wanted to win that money to install an irrigation system that can help us do the routine productions. We believe we deserve this money because this is about us, but doesn't stop at us. If you want Agro Investment Kibutz to win, go to your messages, type B4C, leave a space, Kibutz, send to 6565.
Please vote for Agro Investment Kibutz.
Today is a special day with Santa Lucia. Santa Lucia, you've got to taste it to believe it. Ugandans make the smart choice. Why choose this powder?
It cleans just like any other ordinary detergent.
Aereo gives you better stain removal in one wash, even with less powder.
It can't be.
Observe grass, tea, and chocolate drink.
I'll need 2 handfuls.
And just 1 handful of Aereo. See? Better stain removal with only 1 wash.
It's the smart choice for sure.
Aereo removes tough stains in 1 wash.